Felicitations! It is me, Felicia Day, and this is my podcast. Welcome! If you are subscribed on iTunes, thank you very much. Please leave a review. I'm asking that before I even start. Whatever, you guys. Podcasts, you're okay to be obvious about that kind of stuff, right? Wherever you're listening to it, welcome. So this is my third podcast, and I feel like I'm getting on a roll, except I don't have a guest this week. I meant to ask my friend Sam Smith, who plays the mom on Supernatural, to do an interview because it was just Mother's Day, but I didn't ask her. And I have to go to Europe tomorrow, so too bad. Maybe next time. Yeah, I'm going to Europe tomorrow for 3 weeks. More than 3 weeks, guys. And let me just tell you, I'm scared. I'm scared, guys. I'm taking the baby. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a 15-hour plane ride. I love traveling. I am subscribed to a couple of women on Instagram who I think they do nothing but Instagram and travel. And I'm like, how did they get that job? They take pictures of windows all the time and water. And then they pose in white flowy outfits places. And I'm like, how did I miss that gig? Maybe that's my future, but not now because I reproduced. But I got to go to Poland tomorrow, which is weird because I'm a quarter Polish. And yet I didn't really investigate to see if I had any relatives there. And honestly, it's kind of like on Facebook, when you contact somebody you knew from 10 years ago and you're like, hey, Julie, just thought I'd ping you and say what's going on. I'm doing this. And then Julie goes, hey, I'm doing this. And then you kind of stop because there's a reason why you didn't talk to Julie for 10 years. There was nothing keeping you together except for maybe a Facebook connection, which is kind of my argument against social media. I think you're supposed to shed people as you age. You're not supposed to keep people you know around. And the problem is if you make the bold move of unfriending someone, people can see that. There's a physical manifestation of it versus in life, you can just ghost somebody at will. I do it all the time, daily, hourly. I'm going to ghost you guys one day. No, I won't. Anywho, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, Poland. So I'm going... and I have to fly through Germany somehow. I don't know. I'm just going to get on the plane and see. It's a long flight, and I'm not going to drug my baby. I asked the doctor if it was okay to give Calliope Benadryl, and she was like, I wouldn't. So then that makes me nervous. I'm not going to just follow the internet's advice, so I'm not going to do that. I will bring her snuggly blanket and just ask her, please go to sleep, and that never works. So I might not survive. I might just go to Eastern Europe and never come back. So I'm going to Poland to do a convention in Poznan, Poland, which I think I've talked about before, but I don't really know anybody there. I know Jesse Cox, which I haven't seen this guy in almost 2 years. So I'm excited to see and hang out with him. And there's some other voiceover artists that I believe I may have met briefly, but that's it, guys. There's professional LARPing guests. There's an arena where there's performance or something. I'm not sure. I looked at the website. It looks really cool. And I like Gołąbki. Because my great-grandma was Polish, and I remember as a small child going to her house, and she would make pierogies, and we'd take them home and just live off pierogies for, months. And then she made this stuff called sneaky something. Something sneaky. I just remember it was fried dough with powdered sugar on it. Have I talked about this before? I feel like I've talked about this before. Guys, my brain is rot. It's rot. It's absolute rot. I haven't slept in 3 days. I don't know why people say it gets better, quote unquote. I don't mean to be talking to this baby the whole time, but oh man, guys, my brain is mush. I'm not the same person. I look in the mirror and I'm like, I need anti-gravity for the face area. She don't sleep. And my fault is that it's my fault she's in my bed still. I mean, I'm in a California king. I swear this kid, she is 2 feet tall and she takes up 7 feet of the bed. I don't understand how it's possible. I wake up with the foot in my mouth when she literally can do barrel rolls on the thing. She's a small, tiny person. I've been waiting until after this trip to Europe to put her in her own bed on the floor. I got a floor bed because she hates a crib. She doesn't want to be caged, guys. I don't want to cage her spirit, dude. She's a free spirit. She gotta fly. She can't be in a cage, man. Put her on the floor. So I put a cage in her doorway. So it's just a bigger cage, but it's, it's a more generous cage. If you're 2 feet tall, it feels like less of a cage. Anywho, so I'm traveling. And I want to talk more about that. But, I guess I could talk about it now. There's no format here, right? Clearly. So for the trip, I got a whole carry-on case of stickers. Because she really likes stickers. Especially puffy stickers. And she likes taking them and putting them on the windows and on various things. And she's recently gotten into using a marker. She's not very good at it. It kind of goes everywhere, but if it's washable and the flight attendants aren't washing, it's fine. I'll clean it up before I leave. I'm not going to be trashy. I'm so excited though, because regardless of the +1 situation with child, I am thrilled because after Poland, I go to London. Then after London, I'm going to Spain. Then after that, I'm going to Dusseldorf. Not only am I going to have a great time at conventions, because I love doing them. I love meeting everybody. I just love seeing the cities. London, I'm really excited about because I think May, they have all the flowers in bloom. And I'm like so excited to Instagram filter some London parks, guys. I'm going to go to Hyde Park and I'm going to take a picture of a rose and I'm going to smile near it and I'm going to Instagram it. Linden filter, bam. And then I'm going to go to my very favorite, there's a place near Covent Garden. Ow, that was my elbow. Should I cut that out? Nah. There's a place near Covent Garden that it's a bunch of great shops in a row, and it has 2 of my favorite jewelry shops in the world. There's a place called Tatty Divine that does like 3D cut jewelry, and it's so cool. I got a couple of them that had like comic book, like pow, and stuff like that on them. And then right near there is my other favorite jewelry in the whole wide world, Les Nereides. I know, it's French. I just butchered it. Pardon. But anyway, they're right next to each other. Les Nereides, I don't even want to say it out loud. It's so embarrassing. Nereide. Anyway, it has the cutest jewelry. They have like kitten jewelry and owl jewelry and like themed jewelry like Wizard of Oz or Snow White or ballerinas. And I'm sorry, it's almost like old lady jewelry, but it's like hipper than that. I hope I haven't like turned that corner. It's like that corner you turn when your Halloween turns from getting an outfit to wearing a themed sweater. I feel like I'm almost there, or I maybe have been there for years. So I don't know if I should be wearing kitten jewelry, but I'm just going to do it, guys. You can't limit me. Back off. So those are the 2 places in London I'm super excited to go. And I want to just go to Shoreditch, which is probably the equivalent of someone saying, going to LA and being like, I want to go to Beverly Hills or Los Feliz or Silver Lake. You know, it's just an area. But I'm going to be a tourist and go because I hear they have great graffiti art, again, for Instagramming. And they have this mall that's made out of like storage containers, I guess, which sounds really hip and worth maybe a subway ride. This is what I do, guys. I think in my heart I really want a travel show, but let's make that happen. Let's send a memo. After that, I'm going to Spain. I'm going to Barcelona, which my dream is to live in Barcelona. And when I'm depressed, I am not kidding you guys. I log online, I go to Airbnb, and I look up, or I go to real estate. I go right to real estate. I'm like, if I could move there and find a way to make a living there, what could I afford? And I could afford a pretty nice apartment in Barcelona, you guys. It's so much cheaper than here. You can get a little tiny, like 1 bedroom with a pied-à-terre. I mean, it's not French, but you know what I'm saying. And the architecture is so beautiful. And I splurged this year. We're going to go on a tour of the markets there because they have the famous market that everybody goes to, but evidently there are a bunch of other ones. And it's a 5-hour eating tour, guys. Screw Gilligan's Island. The 5-hour tour needs to put ham in my mouth. And after that, I'm going to become a vegetarian. Probably not. I'm a theoretical vegetarian, so that means nothing, does it? So, yes. And then I have reservations at this restaurant that is a tapas bar, but it's only dessert. It's called a Spy Sucre, and it's like just course after course of dessert. I am so excited. Barcelona is really famous for their experimental food, and I couldn't get reservations because you have to get reservations like 6 months in advance to like the really fancy places like Tickets or I don't know, there's a bunch of other ones. But I didn't really feel like molecular gastronomy is probably appropriate for a 15-month-old either. Like I don't think she's going to be wanting liquid nitrogen frozen olives anytime soon. I feel like she's a little picky. She won't even eat yogurt, okay? I'm not going to spend that much money on her and then have her go like, nah, give me a raisin. So that's my plan for the trip, and I'm pretty excited. I only packed 3 pairs of shoes because I'm sacrificing half my suitcase to a baby. Motherhood is crazy, guys, and let me just tell you, we need Mother's Day. Mother's Day is super important, and my Mother's Day was awesome. That was a real segue, wasn't it? Why'd you call it out? So on Mother's Day, I went to have a play date in the morning and we went to the playground. And you know, play date, quote unquote, is just for mothers to get together and kind of complain about their lives. And we did that because a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old they don't really acknowledge each other's existence, right? Unless one of them punches each other in the head. And they did that. But then I did that. And then I had friends over for the first time in so long to play board games. And I think I said last week we were going to play the Baldur's Gate House on the Haunted Hill or whatever in Codenames Marvel. Okay, we didn't end up doing that. But we played 2 amazing games. We played Monarch, which we played on tabletop. We played both these games on tabletop. Monarch is so fun, you guys. I think it's my top game right now. It's a game where you play 4 sisters, and basically you're competing to have the best court. I really hope they make expansion cards for it because it's so amazing. And so basically you can pick a banner to fly, like you specialize in might or bounty or culture. And everyone gets so bitchy. Oh my God, they get so bitchy because people will like steal each other's cards and build a court and like send unwanted guests. So you get a defective juggler in yours and you start just like talking smack to each other. Then you adopt a bunch of monkeys riding ostriches, which is the weirdest card I've ever seen in any board game aside from Owlbear. It's up there with like Marrying Mr. Darcy. That's that other card game I love where people will just scream at each other. And you'd think that, I have guy friends come over and you'd think they wouldn't be quite as into it if somebody steals their husband or like steals a brooch they really wanted. No, they go postal, just like the ladies. The guys go postal, and it is fantastic. And then we played this other game called Star Trek 5-Year Mission. I love Star Trek Catan, but Star Trek 5-Year Mission is even better for intro people because it's a cooperative dice game. And basically you have all these missions that are associated with everybody and everyone's group trying to save the Star Trek ship. And you can play old school Star Trek or next generation Star Trek. I highly recommend both of those games for even beginner people. We had one person who didn't really play board games and she was just as fierce and angry at other people. That was my Mother's Day. Oh yeah, and then that night I was like, okay guys, I'm gonna go crazy. And I'm going to drink 2 sips of whiskey and take a Benadryl and go to bed. Because I have a sleep disorder, you guys. You can tell from the wandering, I am not in my right mind anymore. And I don't know what to do. I mean, I have to sleep train her. I don't know what to do. I got to get her out of the bed. I've got to get her off my boobies. I got to get everything going on because I am not the same person. So basically, I did this. I took the whiskey. I drank literally two sips. And I was like, woo, this is amazing. Because I haven't drunk in like 2 years. It was insane. I was like, this is how it starts. Tomorrow it's going to be Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. But guess what? I thought I was going to sleep the longest chunk I have slept in like 3 weeks. I woke up after 2 hours and I almost started crying. I was like, what? So much for drug use. So I'm kind of, I'm a little bit loopy today, as you can probably tell. What else did I do this weekend? Oh, and I went to a crawfish boil. And I lived in Biloxi, Mississippi for like 7 years of my life. So I'm familiar with crawfish. I've never sucked a crawfish head. If you aren't familiar with that technique, you take the crawfish's head and you suck it. You suck the brains out. And to me, it's one of the most unattractive things you can do in life other than like drink cereal milk. I'm a little particular about my food and judgmental of other people and their food. But I went to the crawfish boil. It was a benefit my friend was throwing for her charity, Inside Out Writers. It's a great cause. So I went early. They were just boiling the crawfish. And guys, I can't deal with it. I know that they're supposed to be in quote unquote hibernation because they're cold, but I don't buy it. And they're being boiled alive. And then my friend Ashley Johnson, who's, she's part of Critical Role. She's awesome. She was there and she held up a crawfish and he looked like he had a great personality. And I named him Luis. And Luis's dream was to go to Machu Picchu. He'd heard about it. He'd heard rumor of it underneath the sea from a lobster who was really, really adventuresome named Harold the lobster. He got away, by the way. Luis has 5 daughters, and he really wanted to raise them as strong, capable women, and he got boiled alive. And so it depressed me. It really did. I couldn't look at them. I could not look at and they put a whole barrel of them in there. Sometimes I actually get so depressed because I'll just kind of pause for a minute and I'll think, how many animals just died in that 1 second that I just thought about it? Like including cats and dogs and lions and elephants. And then I just start crying. That was my Saturday night, actually. Woohoo! No, I streamed on Saturday night. That was Sunday night when I had the 2 sips of whiskey. It was really expensive whiskey. My dad brought it for me. Bulvani? No, that's not the name of it. Don't ask my brother. I want to talk about, does anybody have this like deathly fear about independent stores they love that they're going to go under, so they just go and kind of guilt buy all the time? There is a toy store that's near where I used to live And it is so cute, guys. It took over from this other place called Whimsic Alley that made knockoff Harry Potter stuff, and eventually they got sued into oblivion, so they closed up. It's a really cute toy store run by women. It's an independent toy store. They have like classes in the back for older kids that are like ninja and knight classes, and I'm like, why can't Calliope be 5? I want her to be a knight. But I'm like deathly afraid because I go in like once a week and like there's nobody there. And I know I go on like a Tuesday at 2, but I'm like, oh, please don't go under. What can I do to help you? I feel like it's my responsibility to keep this place open, even though it's not. And I have this feeling about independent bookstores and other places. I feel it more acutely nowadays because the other day I tweeted about this Amazon list I made. It was full of geeky baby stuff. It's a shop that I made. And the only reason I did it was they offered me the capability. Yeah, I get referral links, but it's like, $2. I'm not like paying the bills with these referral links. I just like the way that I could just aggregate everything I was already buying on one page. Because I hate Pinterest. I really hate it. I don't know. There's something about it that really irritates me. Because they never update the UI. It's like, hey, we did it. Here's 10 years later. So I spend a lot of Friday nights just updating my geeky baby list. And then I link it, once in a blue moon. And then people start crawling up my grill and they're like, Amazon is evil and you're a terrible person and I'm disappointed in you. There's nothing that makes me feel worse than someone saying they're disappointed in me. I'd rather them just tell me I'm a piece of poop. Tell me to go die in a fire. Like that, at least I can shrug off. When somebody says I'm disappointed in you, I don't care who they are. They're a stranger and it makes me wilt inside. And then I'm like, listen, you don't have to buy it on Amazon. Just use it as a referral and go buy it in person. I try to do that. 99% of the time, I can't find what I want from Amazon in person. I drive 20 miles away to get baby shoes because the brand I want isn't available anywhere I live, and I'm in the middle of Los Angeles. So, there's nothing you could do about it. Yes, I don't need to just order toothpaste on a Tuesday to get there 2 days later when I could drive up and go to the CVS up the street or whatever. I admit it. That's just pure laziness, and it's contributing to the greenhouse effect, or it's a bad thing, okay? But certain things, I'm just going to say it. Amazon has it. I find super cute things, and then I struggle to find them in person, and then I'm like, I'll just buy it from Amazon, and I'll throw in a toothbrush. So that's my moral quandary. How do I be better at that? And then how do I keep this toy store open long enough so that she can take the knight class? Because I'm like, that would be awesome for her to fight with swords, right? That would be badass. So let's do an audience question. Audience question time. And by the way, you guys, if you want to ask me a question, ask me on Twitter right now. Or put it as a comment on the podcast. That's fine too. Abby Wilson asks advice on not being able to deal with not being in school anymore. She had 18 years of homework, and now what? I am a level 1 adult. Well, Abby Wilson, that is a really, 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 really good question because I've been thinking about it a lot, actually, and I mentioned it in my podcast interview with my brother last week. I think the one advantage, listen, we were not raised right in a way. Homeschooling-wise, we needed more socialization. We needed to be away from our parents a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I think we had a really good education because we never had a test. We never, ever, ever had a test. I took my first test when it was the SAT, and then I went to college. And then when I got in there, I loved taking tests. I liked showing my achievement to other people. Fundamentally, we were taught to learn for the fun of it, and I think that people in school don't do that. When I was in ballet and stuff, I took a lot of ballet classes because we had lots and lots of time on our hands. And there were 2 kinds of ballet schools that you could go to in Alabama and Mississippi. There was the one where it was super strict, like Russian. Everybody hits you with a ruler and all that. And then there was the fun one where basically you spent all year learning one routine for the dance recital and everybody looked awesome. And then you kind of toured malls with the same outfit and you learned one routine. And I think that's kind of the equivalent of what kids are taught to do growing up, especially since the metric for most schools is test scoring. If you're only studying for the test, you're putting a lot of stuff in temporary short-term memory, and you're not really going to ever transfer it to long-term memory. When I took college courses, I would get the syllabus and I would immediately start studying for the final. People were like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I like to, slow roll it. I like to learn a little bit every day because I will remember all that knowledge at the end after the test is gone versus trying to cram it in my brain in 48 hours and then just dumping it out of my brain afterwards. And that's why I didn't really have any friends in college. So I think it's a real challenge, especially when nobody's kind of measuring you. I guess my best advice would be to always be pushing yourself and learning and figuring out what you like. Because honestly, At 18, you're not going to be the same person at 28. And if you think you're on a certain life track at 18, you might need to reevaluate and say, you know what? I actually don't like this career. I'm going to change. And you're perfectly acceptable to do that. And in fact, if you're not always growing, I say you're either growing or dying. It's kind of like business. If you're in business, there's a reason why people are never like, oh, we hit 3 million users. We're cool to coast here. No, you either got to grow or you die. Tough Love by Felicia Day. I think it's really important to always be examining yourself and seeing where you are and evaluating yourself. I think you're already on the right track. You're a level 1 human. You were a minion and you leveled to 18 and then you're like, boom, you're out. And now you have to be your own DM. So you have to constantly, throughout your life, it never stops, evaluate your stats, see what you want to build up. Hey, I want some more int. I got to go take some classes. Hey, I want more charisma. I need to, use dating apps more. I need more strength. I need to work out more. Constantly be giving yourself quests to up your stats. And you always look at your inventory and see what you've got. And if you don't need it in your inventory, chuck it, sell it, get rid of it, send it to the curb and make sure it's nice and neat inside your pack, all right? And if you have weapons, you need to upgrade those weapons. Maybe you need a new suit. I don't know. I'm taking this analogy way too far. But it actually is your responsibility to give yourself your own quests once you're an adult. And I think that's something that you really aren't trained as a kid to do. And if you can get on it as fast as you can, you're going to get much farther than the average 20-year-old that just spends 10 years kind of messing around and is like, oh, I'm 30. Kill me now. All right, good luck. You don't want to spend your life as a level 1 human. I think there's plenty of people who do that. They're not very happy. All right, it's consumed it time. What did I consume this week? Well, it was a little light on consumption, you guys, because this week I did 2 days of recording the podcast and editing it. And then I did some streaming. And then I went to a party on Friday, which was crazy because I'm driving around and it's like, woo, bright lights everywhere because I'm not used to going out at night. It was a party that had the Batmobile. I posted a picture on Twitter and it was fantastic. But I did not get to consume as much as I would like to. On TV, I watched some Nailed It on Netflix. And if you guys have not watched it, it's actually really funny. It's about people trying to duplicate an amazing confection and kind of failing. You guys have seen them. There's like Pinterest fails. It's a really funny show, so I'm excited about finishing that. And I started The Letdown, which is this Australian show about a mother. It's a comedy. And it's really super funny. I think you have to be a mom to think it's funny because there's so many inside things. So unless you're a parent, I would skip it. But I don't know. Maybe you just want to understand the point of view of somebody else and their lactation problems. I'm not judging. Also, I did a lot of work on my skin because it's basically falling off my face because of my sleep issues. And I think I posted a couple of like Facebook things, which got more engagement than anything I've done in like forever about asking about people's advice for skin products. And I have gone down the rabbit hole, you guys. I'm now a skin product addict and I never was before. And I'm not even sure that my skin is better now. Before I used 3 things on my skin and that was it. I washed it with one thing. I put some moisturizer on her with another, and occasionally I would scrub it with something else. Now I have like this 17-step thing I do with like glycolic acids and C, and I have snail mucin, which is actually fantastic to be honest with you. I'm slathering 17 layers on my face. I don't know. If I get cancer of the face one day, we know why. We know what it is, or we won't know what it is because there's 17 things on it. It's a bean dip. It's like a 7-layer bean dip on my face every night. And I go to bed just like so greasy and I'm like, is this going to be better tonight? And I keep getting samples. I'm just being a harlot. I'm being a skincare harlot, bouncing from balm to balm. And I don't even know if I like any of it. All I know is that I'm breaking out my chin area, which I never do. So something's not right. And I use this one mask. It's called Basha Black Charcoal Mask. And you paint it on you, and then it literally turns to tape. It's like pulling duct tape off your face, and you can see like skin on the other side, and you can pull it off in one piece. It's like a death mask. You could see your skin being pulled up by it. I don't know if this is healthy or not, but my skin looked amazing afterwards. But I'm literally ripping skin off my face, and I'm just like, how often can you do this? And still, I don't know, is this bad? Am I exposing like vulnerable flesh? You know when you take off a scab and it's like red and brand new skin under there? You don't want to expose that to the air too soon. Am I doing that to my face all the time? Is that why women look so like shiny on TV? I don't know. But anyway, that was one thing I was really focused on because I got a gift certificate to Sephora. So I will update you on stuff that I really like. So far, the snail mucin is really number 1 because my skin is super, super dry and I'm feeling a lot more moist lately in the face area. And in the book front, I'm continuing my 2 books that I've been trying to read, Space Opera and Creative Quest, which had a really interesting piece of information. They measured creativity in people who had gotten a lot of sleep versus no sleep. And the people who had gotten less sleep actually were more creative. And I totally believe that because for the first time in like a year and a half, I've started writing again. And I have like 4 projects I'm super excited with. And I feel like I'm finally in a groove where I'm coming up with ideas. And yet I know that part of my brain is not working. It is not, I don't feel complete. I feel fuzzy in some areas, but I think that lack of inhibition and sort of higher brain learning is actually letting more out that I would ever let myself do. Because before I would stop it and be like, no, that's a stupid idea, or second guess it. Now I'm just like, woo, that's funny. It's a fart joke. That's hilarious. So I don't know if it's going to come out well, but I'm certainly allowing myself to mess up a little bit more. And that process has kind of uncorked my creativity in a really cool way. So I guess I should be thanking Calliope, except no, I'm never going to thank her. I'm going to lord this over her for the rest of her life, the fact that she hasn't let me sleep in a year and a half. I have added a bunch of different books to my Kindle to take overseas with me, and a bunch that I'd love to share because I don't know if you guys have read them, but they look really exciting to me. One of them is called Dangerous Women. It's an anthology of short stories edited by George R.R. Martin. And there's some amazing, like Joe Abercrombie, just a bunch of incredibly cool authors did short stories about cool women. So I'm like, yes, please. I'm not really an anthology person. I don't like short stories. I would rather have 4,000 pages in a series than 100. But this one I will make an exception for because the provenance is so high. I also downloaded this book called Forever Amber. And I don't have a romance book club anymore, but I do enjoy romance books. And this one is cool because it was written in 1944 and it was banned as porn in like 14 states and the Catholic Church, which made it one of the best-selling books of the 1940s. And I guess it's set in like the Regency era, and it's about this woman or this girl who kind of like sleeps her way to riches and fame. And I don't know, it sounds kind of fun, you guys. Also, I love books that are anachronistically like modern. There's this one called The Monk, and it was written in like, I don't know, 1800 or 1700, and it's about this like horrible priest murderer who imprisoned people, and it's just lurid as hell. And it just kind of goes to show you that people really like trash at all points in history. Another book is called Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and I think this is a really popular book. It's kind of like a heist sort of thief fantasy book. It kind of reminded me of a Joe Abercrombie book, and he's one of my favorite fantasy authors. Very gritty. I love it. And the last book was called The Dream Quest of Velvet Bow, and it's by K.G. Johnson. And what really attracted me to this is it's kind of Lovecraftian, and it also has a middle-aged woman or an older woman protagonist, which I think is really rare. You know, there's a Louis Bujold has an amazing fantasy series starring an older woman, and it's one of my very favorite series because it's just a point of view you don't see often in fiction. I think a lot of us want aspirational fiction about young people where all the possibilities of the world and the possibilities of self are there. And there are fewer books where you're kind of reflecting on life, where you're toward the end of life or the middle of it, and you're kind of looking back and reevaluating and regretting or moving past things. And so this book it looked good, and the cover is pretty damn cool. So those are my books. If I get 2 of them read on vacation, I will be like super ecstatic. All right. Well, thanks you guys for listening. It's been a pleasure diving into the podcast world. And if you guys want to follow me on SoundCloud or subscribe to me on iTunes, that would be fantastic. When I come back, I'm going to try to do some podcasts out in the wild. They're going to be on my iPhone, on a special iPhone microphone. So I can't guarantee that the quality will be as high as this one. This one's really high, isn't it? But I will try. If not, I will be back in June with another podcast, and I will be doing some more interviews. I might just ask a friend or something. We're still in beta. I'm still practicing, you guys. Oh, and enough of you said that you did want a newsletter with all my suggestions of stuff that I talked about and other stuff that I want to link, so I will start doing that when I get back. It'll be a tiny letter, so it's like I can only have 5,000 people sign up. And that's it. All right, thanks a lot. See you next month. Bye.